friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Stephanie, and on today's episode, we are going to make pumpkin pie. The weather has started to shift. It's getting cooler, and that only makes me ready for fall. Fall is my absolute favorite time of year. I love it. I love everything about it. Pumpkin pie, pumpkin spice, pumpkin anything. I want it. We're gonna make our crust from scratch. If you don't wanna do that, you don't have to. You can just fast forward to the pie making part. We're gonna get started. To start our dough, we are gonna get our flour. And we need 2.5 cups. Woo! And then I just like to scoop and I level with my fingers. 2.5. I love these containers. All right, and then we need 3 tablespoons, am I correct? 3 tablespoons of sugar. Make sure we get all our sugar. 2, 3. We need 1/4 teaspoon of fine salt. You could do kosher if you wanted, table salt, either one would be fine. Then I'm just gonna kind of stir this up. Now the next thing we need is 12 tablespoons of cold butter. Now this is unsalted butter, and I have just cubed this up and just put it back in the fridge. So we're just gonna dump this whole thing in there. And then I have 1/4 cup of lard. You could use shortening. Do we have all of our things? Yes, we do. Now you can either use your hands, you can use a pastry blender. I'm actually gonna put some gloves on just because I don't want the greasiness all over my fingers. Okay, if you don't have a pastry blender, then what you need to do is we're gonna just coat all of our butter and our shortening, or our lard, with the flour and the sugar mixture. We want to just press, so like with the butter, we're just gonna press the butter and the flour together. So we're just gonna make like little butter pancakes. And essentially it's cutting in the fat to our flour. This is what helps with giving your pie crust nice flaky layers. Because if you overwork the dough, and that's one reason why I like to do it by hand, is if you use a mixer, which is, you're good to do that if that's what you want to do. A lot of times you just overwork the dough. So then you end up with a really like stiff dough. It's not as flaky, it's not as light and airy, but not everybody wants to mess with this part, so I get it. And again, if you don't want to make this from scratch, you can just buy the pie dough. They have it in the rolls in the refrigerated section. Pillsbury makes one. And then they also have like already in the pan in the freezer section. So I'm just going through, and any little clumps I feel of butter or shortening, I just, like I said, I make my little pancake. And it's kind of fun. I feel like I'm an anthropologist. Is that the right word? Archaeologist? I don't know. I feel like I'm digging up bones. I don't know what I'm doing, guys. I don't know. All right. I think that's good. Now we need to add our liquid. I have 1/2 cup of water. It's been sitting in the fridge, and I'm just gonna do a tablespoon or 2 at a time. So actually, no, that's not gonna be enough. So I'm gonna do a few more. I'm making a mess, guys. And really, we're just kind of looking for this to start to come together. We're not looking for a beautiful pie dough at this point. We are just looking for everything to kind of become cohesive. And it looks like I might actually use all of my water. We'll see. Just gonna pour that. So this is a 1/2 cup that I'm using. When you can kind of smush it together, that's what you want. We're gonna make a little bit of a mess. I'm just gonna squeeze it from both sides. Press, squeeze. There's nothing scientific about this. And then once all the really big, like loose, dry bits start to come together, then we can start to form it into a ball. Now we don't want to overwork it. Again, that's the whole point of having our butter and our shortening cold. But I'm just taking it and kind of pushing it out. Okay. And once it's kind of a little shaggy mess of a ball, then what we're gonna do is wrap this in plastic wrap. So I'm just gonna stick this in the fridge, maybe about 30 minutes, then we'll come back and make our pie. Our pie dough has been chilling, so we're gonna pull that out, we're gonna roll it out, and we're gonna put it in our pie pan. Can you say pie? How many times can I say pie? Pie, pie, pie. Now, one thing I am gonna do, again, I love these little containers because they have a little scoop on them. I'm just gonna lightly flour my counter. We're just gonna sprinkle just a little bit on there. And then really you just wanna like roll it in one direction, roll it in the other, just constantly turning it. Or you can just roll it. You just don't want it to stick. And like if it's getting a little sticky on top. Now this dough can make 2 pie shells, but I want a really thick crust. Now, like this is kind of split. Just pinch it together. And you just want to check on it, the bottom, make sure it's not sticking. All right. And we want it to be about 1/4 inch. All right, and this is a 9.5 inch pie pan. Get your pie dough from the counter into your pan. You can just roll it on top of your rolling pin. And it's sticking a little bit. I'm not stressing out about that. I'm trying to turn this so you can see it. And then you just gently put it over your pan and then just unroll. And then we're just gonna bring everything in. Now we have a lot of overhang, and that's good because we want to make a pretty scallop. You can use a knife or scissors, but really everything that's touching the counter, I'm gonna cut off. Really just over here on this side. Now anything that's hanging over like this, I'm gonna just tuck under. And I'm just gonna do that all the way around. Just folding it and then kind of giving it just a little press. Now I love pie crust. So cobblers, anything like that, like that's my favorite part to eat. Okay, and I'm again just making sure everything is pressed down and we have we don't have any air pockets. To do like a fluted edge, so we're gonna take our fingers like this, like a C, and then we're gonna get our index finger and we're gonna push in. So we're gonna take the dough in our left hand, making a C, and then push with our index finger. And then you get something like that. And then you go to the next, do the same thing. And then you just continue to go all the way around. And if it's not perfect, it's okay. And then I just kind of go around one more time and just kind of help those places that I didn't get a good crimp. Okay, and then again, I'm just making sure everything is nice and sealed on the bottom. And then I like to get a fork and just make some holes in the bottom of my crust. So, something like that. Now, I'm gonna stick this in the fridge, and while that's chilling, we're gonna make our filling mixture. All right, we're back for our filling mixture. Now, what we need for this, we need a can of 100% pure pumpkin. You don't want pumpkin pie filling because that's already sweetened and all that stuff. You want pure pumpkin. So we're gonna take 1 can of this, and you can roast your own pumpkin if you would prefer to do that versus store-bought. That's just another step. Okay, 1 can of that. We need a can of sweetened condensed milk. I don't know. I never said this was healthy. Just said it was delicious. We need a cup of sugar, 2 eggs, and we're just tossing everybody in here. A 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg and cloves. And if you don't like either one of those, you don't have to use it. I just think it definitely adds. Then we need half a teaspoon of ginger and salt. And I'm using sea salt. You can use kosher, you can use table salt, whatever. And then I need a teaspoon of cinnamon. And then I'm just going to use my whisk Whoops. Smells so good. Smells like fall. We're going to put our pie on it. That way, if it spills, we have contained the mess. So I've got my pie crust, and I'm just going to pour this filling straight in here. Okay. We're gonna pop this in the oven for 50 minutes, and then we're gonna check and see how we are. Usually they need a full hour, but we're gonna see how it does. And we'll see you back in just a little bit. All right, so we pulled our pie out of the oven, and this is what you want it to look like. You want it to still have a good jiggle. You don't want it to be cooked all the way through. So our crust is nice and golden. If you notice that your crust is getting too dark and the middle is still not done, then all you need to do is just tint the edges with some foil and just allow it to continue to bake. The one nice thing about having a clear pie pan is you can actually see how well your crust is doing on the bottom and on the sides. And it looks really good. I'm really happy with it. Again, it's not perfect, but that's how I want it. I don't want it to look store-bought. I want it to look like I made it. All right, so our pie is done. Our crust came out beautifully. You know, as you can see, it's not perfect, and that's what I'm not going for perfect. I'm going for homemade. Like, I made this, look at it. It might be ugly, but It's gonna be good and you're gonna love it. There's 1,001 pumpkin pie recipes. I'm not saying mine is superior, I'm just saying this is one I love. I'll make sure to put the recipe down in the description. If you have any questions, comments, anything like that, just shoot me a message and I will try to answer that for you. We're gonna cut this and we're gonna give it a try. We're gonna cut this little piece right here. Now, I always hate getting the first piece of pie out of a pan because it tends to not be very pretty. Let's get us a nice big piece. And technically this crust will make 2 pies. I just love crust. I love, you know, like to me, that's the best part of a cobbler. That's the best part of a pie. I love it. So, okay, let's see if we can get this out without completely destroying all of our hard work. Ooh, guys, that looks so good. Okay, yeah, I did good. All right, I don't know if you can see that. You can make some homemade whipped cream. I'll put the recipe right here. All that is heavy cream and a little sugar, a little bit of vanilla. Whip it up and you have homemade whipped cream. Don't want to do that? Go buy it in the can, go buy Cool Whip, whatever. You can't go wrong. All right, guys, let's try this. I think it turned out so pretty. I'm very happy with it. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. Oh, the big bite. Winnie wants some. You can't have this, baby. That's too much sugar in there for you. It's really good, guys. Very simple. You don't need a ton of ingredients. Really, all you need is canned pumpkin, the sweetened condensed milk, sugar, and some spices, a couple eggs, and you have a homemade pie. Like, you have a homemade pie. Give this recipe a try. Let me know what you think. I hope you all have wonderful Thanksgiving, fall break, fall whatever. I hope you enjoy your fall. I hope you love fall as much as I love fall. Anyway, we'll see y'all next week, guys.